Welcome. In front of me I have the ULEFONE Armor 21, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and specifications and build quality. Okay, so let's just get straight into this. Looks like another rugged device, which I always love those. So popping it open, we have some paperwork, no one cares. There we go. And in here we got more paperwork, but we also got a hard tempered glass. Let's go. So that's pretty nice. Tempered glass for the phone. Anything else? We got a massive SIM eject tool and a pry tool. Now that's already indicative of we're going to be popping out the tray. Great. And moving on, we got the little energy rating sticker. So it looks like the battery lasts for about 89 hours. I think that's what that is supposed to refer to. And product information sheet. Oh, cool. So we have like all the info here. Anyway, I have it open on my screen from GSM Arena, so that's going to be good enough for me. Next we got the phone with a what looks to be a pretty damn big speaker. And we got the space for the charger, but it's not here because go screw yourself. Awesome. Now that I just loved to see that. Literally charger was removed. Awesome. Go screw yourself. So obviously you're not doing this for the environment because there was a charger. Literally there's a space for it, but you decided to get rid of it for the sake of selling it on the side. Thanks, ULEFONE. Now we also have this little, whatever you want to call this. I don't even know. And well, that's about it. Now cable that was included is a Type-C to Type-C. Now let's move to the phone itself. Let's try to peel that off without, there we go. That actually screwing up the screen protector that is already applied. I'd love to see that one. And let's turn it on. So now it makes sense where we need that little tool to get the tray out. As you can see, I think we might be actually able to get away with a fingernail. Yep, I can use fingernail to get it out. There we go. And well, I already got it out. We have dual SIM card support along with an SD card support, so that's great. Just pop that back in there, close it up, and press a button by mistake. Okay, so while I'm going to the setup, I'm going to quickly... this device has 100% charge. That's interesting. Usually phones have like 50. As fully charged or discharged batteries aren't the greatest idea on a phone, but whatever. So the screen right here is a 6.58 inches in size. It is a unsurprisingly LCD display. Surprisingly, it's running at 120 frames. It has a 72.6% screen to battery ratio and 401 pixels per inch, and covered with glass that is rated for MUSH level 4, and it also comes with a pre-applied screen protector. Now that's just the display, so let's move it over to the cameras, which look kind of weird. I'm pretty sure we have a night vision camera right here, as this here looks like an infrared light. I could be wrong about it, but something tells me I'm not. Now let's see where it's going to be in the camera. Let's see. No, yep, night vision. There we go. So it is basically black and white as you would expect. And let me just take off my jacket. So black and white, typical. Personally, for a phone, I don't think there is much of a use for night vision. Maybe I'm just kind of stupid. But that being said, whatever night vision can do, so can the flash. And as an example, you can either use night vision, which means that if you're in a pitch black shithole where you're trying to capture a photo, you can't see what you're capturing, but your phone can. Great. Now, same thing can be done with every other device, with the added benefit of when you try to do something, record something with a, with your camera, you can enable flash, and you can also see what you're recording. So just a little idea. Now, like I said, I might be missing something, that some kind of use case scenario where pitch blackness is the added benefit that this phone presents. But typically, I'm pretty sure wherever you are in pitch black, you can also usually use flashlight, which would mean that you can record with a flash, which would mean that it basically acts as a night vision in a way. As lights tend to do, they illuminate, which makes you see at night. Just a crazy little thought right here. So for this purpose, like I said, I might be missing something, but I will be approaching this from a perspective that I can basically substitute everything that this night vision can do with just any kind of other phone that just has a flashlight, which just happens to be literally every phone. So moving on into those cameras, let me just lock the device first. We have what looks to be a dual camera setup in reality, and in practice it's actually a dual camera setup. Okay, so 64 megapixels 1.9 aperture wide sensor and 24 megapixel 1.8 aperture night vision with 2 infrared lights, which are these here. Now with those cameras you can do 4K at 30, 1080p at 30, so nothing really substantial right here. And then at the front we have a selfie in this drop, as it's not a hole punch. Let me just navigate into the settings. There we go. You can now see it much better. And that houses a 16 megapixel wide sensor that also does 1080p 30. So nothing really special right here in terms of cameras. Now continuing on into the internals, in this rugged brick of a phone, not the biggest phone I have encountered so far, we have 9600 milliamp hour battery that can be charged at 33 watts of speed. And it's also being powered by a Helio G99 and comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage that can be expanded further using an SD card, which I did show you before. So that's that. And anything else that I want to kind of talk about here? All right, maybe also let's talk about the OS right here. So the phone is running, let's open up settings. It's running Android 13 by the looks of it. Holy shit. All right, this probably also mentioned, this phone was released in 2023. To probably a single person, which would be someone that works here, is watching this. If you're not from here, you're probably, I don't know, might be curious about this phone. And well, curiosity killed a cat. So I recommend looking at something else. But anyway, so considering this is a very kind of old device now, at this point, basically 3 years. So I don't really see much of a reason to pick this up. There are better devices that will offer more. But continuing on, at the time of release, it was running Android 13. Chances are you can upgrade it to Android 15. At least I would say. So yeah, you should be getting about Android 15 here, which would be pretty good. And your features, whatever. Actually, speaking of, this is already running Android 15. So yeah, you basically get that. I don't think you're gonna be getting Android 16 here. Just a speculation. I don't know if this device is getting still updated. It looks like it might be, as the last security patch was done August 5th of 2025. So we're a couple months from that, but I don't know. It's still kind of close enough. Some devices do tend to have them like very delayed. So there is a chance that either this was the last security patch this device got, or it's not going to be getting any. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, which is kind of odd, I did unpack this device straight out of the box. It had a seal, at least one that wasn't cut. And I'm pointing that out is because if this device was released in 2023, there is no way in hell without any kind of internet connection straight out of the box, it should be running Android 15. It's just physically not possible, as at 2023, Android 15 did not exist. And the last security patch was done here on August 5th, which means that this device isn't actually new, as it was opened and updated. Why? Hell would I know. Why is it pretending to be new when it clearly isn't because it was updated? Would I know? But in any case, let's continue on. So let's move on to the build quality right here. And obviously for a rugged device, this is built like a tank. Now we have rubber surfaces all around, along with the brushed, I believe this aluminum sides, fingerprint sensor that doubles as a power button, volume macros right above that, and then on the other side we just have our SIM tray, additional button, and it looks like a little magnetic attachment with pins right here, so you can, I don't know, attach something. Not sure what kind of accessories there are to attach here, but it looks like there is something. And again, just aluminum side right here, and the rest of it is covered with this rubber surface right here. So this will obviously get decent kind of durability for the device when dropping it. It should, dissipate some of that impact through that rubber. But alternatively, when you drop it, usually this rubber on like hard surface might get damaged, so it becomes jagged and just unappealing to kind of touch. And this is something that you won't be able to replace. So I am probably one of the weird ones that considers that maybe just buying a normal phone and smacking a rugged case on it is a better option rather than buying a rugged phone. And this kind of would be the case right here as well, as this device is already a couple years old. Therefore, its specifications aren't kind of up to snuff, I would say, for what you would expect from current phones. And at about 300 euros that this device costed at release, I don't know how much it costs right now. If it's still about the same price, I don't think it's worth it. That is a hell of a lot of money for a phone that doesn't really offer that much. And at that price, you can go for something like the... See, this is coming out... Okay, this is more expensive, so maybe not that. Trying to find some kind of device on top of my head that would have a good battery life while being cheap. But honestly, I can't really think about anything right now. Trying to search for things, but yeah, I don't know what that would be. The first thing that I was thinking was the Poco F8 Pro, but that is at $500 more like. And it does have a good battery, nowhere near close to this one though. It's at 6200, which is still bigger than what most phones have. It's a normal device, but it is going to act more like a flagship phone. And you can just smack a rugged case on that and have a better camera experience, better phone experience, better display experience, faster, we're talking about like much faster charging speeds of already decent battery size. And yeah, with the rugged case, you're basically having a phone that is durable with the benefit that if the case gets damaged, you can just always replace it. And cases aren't that expensive. So this is something that I would personally, in my case, do for myself if I would be looking for like a work phone. That's what I would be doing. I don't think I would be buying like a rugged device like this one, just because it would annoy the hell out of me when I would drop this phone and it would get like, jagged edges and it would be just unpleasant to hold. And also, I just like the phone to be a little bit faster than these ones are. And here you have a decent kind of price that is put into making them just durable, as that's what they're supposed to be. And the phone is durable, as it also, which I didn't mention yet, grab a case, it supports IPS or IP69K and IP68, which basically means that it's dust tight and water resistant, high pressure water jets, immersible up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. Something that most devices don't really support. So that could be one of the very kind of good points for this rugged device, as it is durable when it comes down to dust and water specifically. Other than that, if you don't have this kind of use case scenario, if you don't have any kind of worry that your device will get water damaged from pressure, like pressurized water or, I don't know, dust, sand and stuff like that, which Most devices don't really have that problem anyway, and most devices do have some kind of rating for them. So for instance, like I mentioned, the Poco F8 Pro has an IP68, which means that it's dust tight and water resistant, immersible, up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So similar to this one, is just missing that certification for the pressurized water. So if you're not dealing with pressurized water, like I said, the Poco will be basically as durable in this sense of like ratings for pressured water and water and dust without the pressurized one. And let's see what we get at the bottom. We have a headphone jack, Type-C charging port, I presume, right? Damn it, let's go. Yep. So headphone jack, Type-C charging port, and I'll just get a little bit more light here. And one more thing, which I also didn't mention, was the whopping massive speaker right here. Which, it's here. They won't sound great, as I already tested them out, so, and I don't feel like connecting to networks. That's about it. So, verdict, probably skip this phone, as it is already dated. That's going to be one of the biggest kind of drawbacks of this phone right now. I am late, and because this device is old, it's possibly still getting security patches, but possibly this might have been the last one in August that was right there. And if that's the case, obviously this device becomes unsecure. If there are vulnerabilities, they're not going to be patched by Android, and they could be exploited by someone. So for work and whatever purpose you might have, I do recommend going obviously with a newer device. Which one you go for is completely up to you. I give you a recommendation of not a rugged device, but obviously if you're into rugged devices, and then go for that. Just pick one that is a bit from like this year. So I don't know, 2026 or whenever you're watching this. This will give you a phone that will actually be supported into the future for 2-3 years, depending on what brand and what they decide to do. But typically it's 2 years at least. And in this case, you'll be set for any kind of security patches into those 2 years into the future, and you don't need to worry about that. Afterwards, like I mentioned, vulnerabilities aren't going to get patched and they could be exploited. That is the case for every phone in the future, and it's only kind of mitigated by manufacturers deciding to maintain their devices for a longer period of time, which happens to, for instance, be Samsung. Samsung tends to update their devices for, I believe, 5 years usually. So that's one of the companies on top of my head that does this. And I know that there was one more, I just don't recall what it was. Most phones, I believe, like the more well-known ones, do tend to do a 3-year cycle, at which point they stop obviously giving you any kind of updates. And again, at that point, you might as well look for a new device. Or you could also pick any of these devices, and if you can, if this is a possibility for that device, you could just kind of unlock it, flash it with a new ROM, and install basically a different version of Android that is maintained by someone no matter what. And even though it's end of life, you would still be getting updates from whatever custom ROM you actually picked. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.